Complementary currencies are another form of currency that run alongside whatever there is that is existing. So in the UK we have pound sterling. The idea of a complementary currency is one that can be used in addition to it, so not alternatively to it. There are 5 at the moment. So the first one to launch was Totnes, and following that there are currencies launched in Stroud and in Lewis. And then the Brixton pound was launched in 2009 as the 4th local currency, a community currency in the UK.
It's about supporting local independent businesses, and local independent businesses in particular are really important. They give loads of different benefits to a city or to an area. So they give economic diversity. They create different sense of identity, so that your town looks like your town and not like every other town. It doesn't look like a clone.
One of the ideas of the Brixton pound is to create, stronger community and create community pride at the same time. That's why, if you look at our notes, you will see we celebrate on the notes the local art and sort of some of the famous people who have contributed to the area over time. And it's this idea of, when you go and pay in Brixton pounds, you're turning what is normally a very passive means of exchange where you just hand over a banknote to somebody. Actually, what the Brixton pound does is it kind of creates this connection where the business knows that you are a local consumer and that you're a consumer who by choice is choosing to use a different form of money. And you start that conversation. So it's about forming connections really between local people and the small business community.
It's something a little bit different. It's something that people are interested in, and actually particularly visitors to the city, both from the UK and overseas, from places where there is no sort of alternative local currency, are really interested in the concept and what it's all about and what it's trying to achieve.
I think most people in Bristol, I would say with confidence that they know what it is, which is a good start, because there's about 400,000 people in Bristol and about 1 million people living or working in the Avon region. So I'd guess that most of those people would at least have some awareness that there's a local currency. But there's not, I wouldn't say there's so many people right now who know exactly how it works. So the Bristol pound, it's a local currency. It's the same value as sterling, but you can spend it either as cash or you can spend it electronically. So the cash is pretty simple. It works a bit like a gift voucher. So you go in with your £100 worth of sterling and you swap £100 worth of sterling for 100 Bristol pounds, 1 for 1. It's exactly the same value. And then once you've got it in your pocket, you can go and spend it with all the businesses that will accept it. And anyone's free to accept it if they like. It's a voluntary system. It's not a legal tender, but anyone can accept it and trade it. And you can use it alongside sterling as well. So you can pay a £5 Bristol pound and a £5 sterling. And if you want, you can have all your change in Bristol pounds, or you can have no change, or, it's exactly complementary. So right now there's about 700 businesses that accept Bristol pounds. Within that's 700 businesses, all of them accept the paper currency. There's nothing you have to do to accept the paper currency, you just say yes and you accept it. But within that there's about 450 that can trade Bristol pounds electronically as well. So they've got accounts, they can pay the cash into their accounts, they can pay other traders electronically or accept payment by text. Or if they like, they can also convert Bristol pounds back to sterling. And there's no charge to do that. Or they can create Bristol pounds into their Bristol pound account. There's a whole kind of range of extra things they can do. But in total, about 700 and growing. We get about one or two new businesses per day wanting to join.
We take maybe about between 1% and 2% of our turnover is in Bristol pounds, which is, obviously a small proportion, but it is quite significant. Over the course of a year, that's several £1,000s that we're taking that way. And yeah, it's just really nice to know that money is going to stay in Bristol.
The Brixton pound is a sterling-backed currency, so it's one-to-one exchanged with pound sterling. What you do is you give us a pound. We put that pound in the local credit union. So we call it a double win, because we then give you a Brixton pound. Now it's a double win because we give you a Brixton pound, and that means that you're spending the local currency, which is good for the area, but your pound in the credit union is also doing good work, because a credit union is it's like a local bank, but actually what it does is it does the things that banks don't do, which is lend to local people, and it also lends at a much more affordable rate. The Brixton Pound was launched by volunteers with the support of local businesses who actually provided some of the startup money to help us print paper notes. And on the day of the launch, there were 70 businesses who said who were signed up to accept this new currency. Now it's around 300, so that's a considerable chunk of Brixton's independent businesses. Around approaching half of them. So it's growing, but I would say we're actually at a stage now where you can almost buy anything retail in Brixton pounds.
There's a lot of people in Bristol that get the ideas, that totally get support local independent businesses is good for the community and really fun. It's just more interesting to go to grocers as opposed to the same old supermarket, which is the same in all of its 1,000 stores, exactly the same. And there's also people that get the idea of keeping money in the community and getting the idea of social capital, and talking to people in your neighbourhood and knowing people in your local area is really important. And people can really start thinking about, what does my money do? How do I use my money and what does it do? And not just, I spend it on council tax and it's gone. You know, if it goes to a local business or a local initiative, it will have some impact on my local area.
It's definitely been successful. There's a lot of businesses involved, and I'd say we've definitely seen advantages, and we've had a lot of new people in because of it. It's people that want to spend Bristol pounds and want to find where they can spend them.
People use it as a kind of accreditation, if you like. So if I'm walking around the city centre and I want somewhere to buy a coffee, well, I'd probably come here in the first place. But if I'm in another part of the city centre, then I will look for that Bristol Pound sign, because those are the sort of businesses that I want to support. If they're thinking about being part of their local currency and supporting their local economy, then I want to give them my custom. Whereas if they're not thinking about those things, then maybe I'm not so interested. I see it as like a quality badge. These are the sort of people that I want to deal with.
I think what we've actually helped to do is to raise the questions about things like where does money come from, but also we have, I think, influenced consumer habits. So I think because of the Brixton Pound, people in Brixton, even if they don't use it, are more aware of where money goes if you spend it at a corporate business, for example, and therefore they're more minded to go to a local independent business.
This Brixton Pound is something really original to actually keep the community together, and it's a really good, lovely idea, I guess. I use it to pay other shops, because especially got the fruit and veg store, which is here on the corner. They have set Brixton Pound, they are part of it, so I pay my weekly expense in fruit and veg with the Brixton Pound. So that's or sometimes when I want to have something to eat that's not focaccia, I go to other places where they have set it and I pay with the Brixton Pounds.
Community currencies are quite underdeveloped, and I think that if you were to actually look at the sort of hard economic impact of the currency itself, then it's it hasn't made a critical impact on Brixton's economy. I would say the main problem, of course, is usage. How do you go from this stage where you've created a product or you've created a currency to one that is actually has critical mass usage, one that is more mainstream than it is now?
The key is really getting people to use it, to open an account, set up a standing order, and start paying by tax. And that's what we really want people to do. And we think we need about 3,000 people initially to make the project financially sustainable, because the scheme receives a fee when users pay electronically. When you pay by text, there's a 2% fee which comes off, and when you pay online, there's a 1% fee, which is capped at 95 pence.
Brixton, it has received a lot of attention through the years, and it's often been portrayed negatively, very unfairly in my opinion. But that has been the dominant narrative around Brixton is that has been one that's associated with certain like negative things, and I think that the Brixton Pound, as much as anything, has been a good news story, and it's given the area a lot of positive coverage as a place of innovation, as a place of sort of resilience.
We had a kind of chat about it. We had like a visioning session, 10, 15 years, where would you like to be? I think the ideal would be that it's totally normal to have Bristol Pounds, to have a Bristol Pound account. Me personally, I'd like Bristol to be an environment where starting a local independent business and having aspirations is very realistic for a lot of people.
Brixton Pound in itself is an innovation. We were the first local currency in an urban area in the UK. We were the first local currency to use a mobile payment platform. We were the first to have staff paid in local currency. We were the first to have the council accept it as payment for business rates. We would love other areas to develop their own local currencies. The Brixton Pound cannot lead the money revolution by itself. People need other areas to set up their own community currencies, and then that will make people in Brixton want to use it more. If they think that this is a normal thing, which is happening all over the world, then that will encourage more people in Brixton to use it.